I would like now to give the floor to Iman Bugaighis, who is a scholar and who is an activist and who was formerly the spokesperson for the Libyan National Transitional Council, and who has worked side by side with Salwa Bugaighis. Iman, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the Bugaighis family, I would firstly like to thank all those who supported Salwa during her life and those who recognized her achievements and honored her legacy after her murder. 6 years after the assassination of Salwa and the abduction of her husband Issam, civil war and its repercussions are still being suffered by a large part of Libya's population, and especially by human rights defenders and peace advocates in Libya, and constitutes a huge threat to Libya's unity. The ideals for which Salwa lived and died may now seem even more distant in Libya than ever before. What made Salwa so unique, is that she was coherent, consistent, transparent, and genuinely committed to democratic dialogue and power sharing under a common rule of law. She worked hard for these principles, from the first days of the Libyan revolution to her reaching out to all Libyans while visiting towns and villages all over Libya. Salwa was an idealist, but also a pragmatist, who recognized that enduring solutions can be achieved by both following her principles as well as by reaching compromises. She truly believed in democratic values and understood that Libya had to be a home for all Libyans. And she was courageous to publicly advocate these principles, even in front of mortal danger. And that's why Salwa was targeted. As believers in human rights and justice, we have to be more determined than ever in demanding justice for Salwa and all the innocent victims of political and gender-based violence. This can only be achieved by ending impunity for the perpetrators of such crimes, no matter how long it takes to bring them to justice, by ensuring protection of defenders of human rights, and by the inclusion of women as part of peace-building efforts. Demanding justice for Salwa is a natural consequence of belief in human rights and democracy. And it is also demanding justice and protection for all civil society activists and human rights defenders. Salwa left us too soon, but her spirit remains living with the people who share her values and visions that lives in our hearts and minds. Her voice continues to ring in our ears, and her memory continues to shine in front of us as a moral that guides us in the midst of these often dark and gloomy times to the direction we should be heading to a new Libya. We owe it to Salwa's memory to pursue a process of seeking together all relevant facts that will hopefully lead to holding perpetrators of human rights violation accountable and to achieving justice. We are all aware of the challenges and polarization that we face on the national and international level, in our region and throughout the whole world. And progress may therefore take time, but the day will come when these facts can be brought to the fore and justice can finally take its course. Peace and progress will only be achieved hand in hand with accountability and justice. We also owe it to Salwa to continue to support other human rights activists that remain committed to the cause of peace, democracy, and justice. Raising awareness, building capacity, and encourage engagement of the civil society. Female activists striving for peace and security continue to fight for dignity, peace, accountability, and rule of law, despite the threat of violence, increased insecurity, and rise of terrorism and polarization. Emphasis must be put on ensuring the safety and security for women and girls against violence. These goals must be at the forefront of the fight to realize Salwa's vision for a future that we can all look forward to in Libya, no matter how long the road to reach it will be. Thank you.